You ever find yourself at the start of a walk wondering if you have the right gear on for today? Are you going to be warm enough, or are you going to be too cold? Have you got the right stuff? Will the outfit you have on hold up to today's walk? Today we are looking at potentially the perfect hiking attire. I'm going to break down the essential hiking wardrobe from underwear to raincoats. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to reveal which items I think you should buy first to maximize your hiking experience. Hi everyone, Mauser here, and in today's video, we're tackling a crucial aspect of hiking: what to wear. From temperate forests to rocky peaks, we're covering it all. So let's dive in and ensure your next hike is comfortable and memorable. Now, before we get into it, the first thing we need to understand is the no cotton rule. And why have we got the no cotton rule? Well, cotton is widely regarded as a very poor fabric to make hiking clothing and to wear hiking. And there are a few key reasons for this. Firstly, its properties of moisture retention and slow drying. Cotton absorbs and retains a significant amount of moisture. So if you're sweating, if it's raining, it's going to really struggle to shed that moisture once it absorbs it. Now, not only does this make the material heavier, it also leads to a much longer drying time than some other fabrics. Now, in hiking scenarios, especially in cold and windy conditions like I often see, this can be really problematic because it can rapidly draw heat away from the skin, leading to a cooler body much quicker, a cooler skin temperature. And this could potentially lead to hypothermia. Now, for those who don't know, hypothermia is when your body is losing more heat faster than it can create heat. So your body temperature plummets. It's a life-threatening condition. And you definitely don't want that when you're out in the middle of a hike in the backcountry somewhere. You don't want hypothermia. The other reason is that when cotton becomes wet, it becomes extremely heavy. If you've ever accidentally ended up in the water, fully clothed, fully dressed, you've accidentally fallen in, whatever, you've jumped in for a bit of a laugh, then you'll know when you get out, if you're wearing cotton clothing, it is extremely heavy and very hard to maneuver and get around in. So that is another reason we wouldn't take it hiking. It's also very bulky, doesn't pack down that small. It's not a good fabric for hiking. So if you're new to this whole hiking game, I hear you saying, well, what should I be wearing, Mauser? What materials should I wear? What are the ideal materials? Thanks for asking. Now we'll dive into some specific pieces of clothing in just a moment, but first, what materials should they be made of? The ideal materials for hiking clothing should primarily focus on moisture management, durability, and breathability. So here are a few examples, some common examples of materials used in a lot of hiking gear today. First up, you've got synthetic fabrics like polyester and nylon. These are lightweight, they are quick drying and have great moisture wicking capabilities. Moisture wicking, what's that you say? It's where they draw the water away to the outer edge of the fabric from the skin, so they're drawing water away from the skin, basically, is the most basic sort of explanation. These are also quite durable materials, making them perfect for rugged terrain. Another material is merino wool. It's a soft material, it's got natural breathability, and it also has those moisture wicking abilities as well. Merino wool effectively regulates body temperature and doesn't create much of an odor when you've been wearing it for a while. So it's fairly ideal for when you're out hiking. Thirdly, a material called polypropylene. Now this is often used in a lot of base layers, a lot of thermals, that sort of thing, and it is lightweight and quick drying. It's also really good at wicking moisture away from the skin, and it is less absorbent than things like polyester. It's also meant to have low thermal conductivity, so it's good on cold nights. It's not going to pull that heat away from the skin when you're wearing it close to the skin. It's just going to sort of keep it trapped in there. It doesn't transmit the heat. And lastly, a very popular material in hiking circles is Gore-Tex. If you haven't heard of Gore-Tex before, it is a high performance material. It is waterproof, it is breathable, and it is ideal for sort of the outer shell for your wet weather and rain gear. And it's breathable in that it allows sweat to escape, but doesn't let the rain in. That's the most simplest explanation of Gore-Tex. And as I have said before in many videos on this channel, including this one where I go into some of the features of my Gore-Tex jackets and gear, it is a great material for hiking and very, very durable. Now, obviously, selecting the right materials for your hiking clothing is going to depend on a lot of factors, including the specific conditions you're going to be encountering, the weather, the terrain, and of course, the intensity of your hike. So, depending on the walk you're going on, you may choose different products, different clothes for different walks. But today we're going to look at my general kit that I take on pretty much every walk and what I wear when I'm on the track. And we're going to have a look at each product, each thing I use, and at the end, I'm going to sort of go through what I would buy if I was starting out again, first off. Let's go. So first up, we're going to get right into the nuts and bolts so to speak. Don't mind if I do say so myself. Underwear. We're looking at my underwear, believe it or not. You never thought this would happen, did you? So it's a tough one for me, underwear. I've always found it hard to find the nice fitting underwear that I find comfortable, that will last for days on the track. Because when I'm out for 9 or 10 days, I want something that generally I might take 1 or 2 pairs of underwear. That's it, probably 2 for a 10-dayer. But ones I have worn a lot the last few years are the Sax SAXX brand of sort of boxer briefs. These ones are the Kinetic HD boxer briefs, and they're generally what come with me on every walk. I will wear them pretty much most of the walk. Then of an evening, I will freshen up and I might have these as a backup pair of undies if I need them. And these are my icebreaker undies. These are just the Cool Light undies. Bit worse for wear these days after some solid days in the trail, but they're a woolen blend undie as well. Those are just like a polyester or something. I found them very comfortable, very good, but it's a personal preference. There's lots of brands out there. Would love to know if anyone else has some really good undies that work well for them. Again, I try to avoid cotton undies. I have been known to wear cotton undies occasionally on day walks, things like that. I will wear them, but once they get wet, they just don't dry out, and that is most uncomfortable when you're on a hike. Next up, you want some good socks when you're out hiking. I have tried many over the years, and I have also gone into that on this video up here where I went into my socks that I've used over the years. But the ones I'm currently using are the Silverlight socks. They're a great blended sock. They are very comfortable. They've got silver infused in them to prevent odor, that and bacterial infection, that sort of thing. And I'm really liking these since I found them. I've been through lots of socks over the years, but they are my go-to sock these days. I wear them summer, winter, whatever. If it's cold and snowy in the middle of winter, I might take a much thicker pair of woolen socks, something like the Smart Wool socks, but they will come with me pretty much on every hike, those ones, and I'll wear them every day. For a 9 or 10 day hike, I would take 2 pairs, but that would be about it. For a 3 or 4 day hike, I'd probably still take 2 pairs. Overnight, I pretty much take 2 pairs all the time, just in case I fall in a cold river or something and I need spare socks, but they're a good one. But in general, opt for a wool or synthetic blend of socks. Check that video out and you can see in more detail which socks I use. On the feet, we're not going to go into the boots and stuff today, but I tend to wear boots. I've said that before. Trail runners are fine if that's your thing. If you've got experience and you're out there using trail runners, that is not a problem. I have just moved over to a new boot. I'm yet to fully test them, but give me a couple of months and the Lowa, is that how you say it? Lower boots. These ones are hardcore. They look awesome. I've worn them a few times already. They feel really good, and I've opted for a bit more room in them. I've gone a size up than what I normally would because I've had blister troubles in recent times. I will review them in a few months and let you know how they go. But again, if you prefer a trail shoe, if you're a trail runner, I do lots of trail running and I definitely love my trail runners, but having broken my leg before, boots are my go-to. Now, depending on where you're hiking, the other thing with footwear is that you will often need gaiters, especially here in Australia, in Tasmania, where things can get very scrubby very quickly. Where I tend to go is no tracks, it's extremely scrubby, and I know from experience if you don't have gaiters, it just leads to your boots just full of lots and lots of crap and just twigs and things, and that is not fun. When you're on a 4-day hike in October in Tasmania and you left your gaiters back in the car and you forgot them, that was not a very nice experience. So they are often a requirement. If you're doing well-formed tracks, that sort of thing, I don't wear them. I only wear them where it's going to be really scrubby. Some people wear them for snake bite protection. That's not a bad reason to wear them, but they can be a necessity sometimes, but then other times not so much. And these ones are just the good old Cedar Summit Quagmire gaiters. That's what I have worn for years. I have tried other gaiters. I've tried many gaiters, but I always keep coming back to the Quagmires. They're just, they're basically indestructible. You'll get a good few years out of them, and they're a good gaiter. Okay, now we've done the sort of the feet and lower limb. We'll look at upper body t-shirts and shirts. Now, you can go for basically anything here as long as it's not cotton, but ideally you want something that is synthetic and moisture wicking, and they'll keep you dry and comfortable. I've been wearing this shirt for many years. That's a Patagonia Air Chaser shirt, something like that. I've got a few different types of Patagonia. Because I use them for running as well, they're the shirts I prefer. So generally that's what I wear. I wear one of my running shirts because they are built to wick moisture and dirt sort of thing. So I've just got many of them because I wear them around the garden. I wear them when I'm doing work. When I am going for a run, I wear them all summertime. Great shirts, and I'll just pick 1 or 2 up every couple of years, and I've got quite a collection of them now. Generally, that's what I wear on every walk. I have tried many other options over the years. I have dabbled in long sleeve shirts before. I have tried this Patagonia shirt for sun protection. It was a good shirt. I've worn it on a few longer hikes. I think the last time I took it was on an 8 or 9 day hike into some really bad scrub. You might not be able to see here, but it's got a few sort of rough partial pulled fabric marks. Is that what it is? Pulled fabric bits. It's a great shirt. I just find I get too hot in these and I sweat too much. They do dry out quickly, but it's a fine balance for me. I sweat a lot on the track, and I end up just using more sunscreen if I have to prevent sunburn. But my mate Bowie has one of these, loves it, wears it still all the time, and that is a good sun protection shirt. You can also roll up the sleeves and button them up. It's got a couple of good pockets in the front, but that was a moisture wicking synthetic shirt. Worked really well. I still wear it occasionally, just not as much. Then I also have this hiking shirt, another Patagonia shirt. I love my Patagonia shirts. This is one specific for hiking, which I wore on my most recent big hike to the Western Arthurs this year, and that was a good one. Again, moisture wicking. I wore that because it had a collar just to protect the neck a bit. Again, I don't know if I'm going to bother with this style of shirt anymore. I am probably going to just stick with my t-shirt. I really like that, and when I get a bit cool, I put a thermal on, which is long sleeve, and will give me that sun protection as well, even on the cool days. Then there are things like the Capilene base layer that Patagonia make, which I have taken hiking in as well. Long sleeve sort of option. I found that when that gets wet, it doesn't really dry that well, that shirt there. Capilene meant to dry pretty quick, but didn't find that it was that good. Now, before we move on, if you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the like button below, hit the subscribe button, and also sign up for the newsletter in the link below, or with the QR code right there, newsletter, sign up. Right, next up, move into the lower body with pants and shorts. Now again, cotton is a no-go here, which means jeans are a no-go. Jeans are generally cotton, you don't want to be wearing them. As a guide, I used to see a lot of people hiking on one of Tasmania's premier tracks on the Overland track in jeans, and I'd just shake my head. Then you'd see a big rainstorm come in and they'd be drenched for the rest of the trip. Like all this other stuff, you want to look for lightweight, quick drying pants or shorts. Now, in terms of pants, even in the middle of winter, I rarely wear long pants. I prefer to wear shorts, and if I need pants on, I will tend to put my thermal leggings, my long johns on the bottom half with my shorts on over the top. But yeah, generally I wear, and again, I'm a bit of a Patagonia boy today, but I wear my Patagonia baggies shorts, very widely available. The baggies, they've been around for years. They are a little heavy, but they dry quick, so I'm wearing them all the time, so that doesn't really bother me. They've got pockets on each side, they've got a drawstring, and they're just a solid, durable short. These shorts have done a lot of walks, a lot. They're looking a bit faded and worn, but they've still got a long time left in them yet. More recently, I have purchased a pair of the Silverlight shorts. I'm trying them out next month on a very big hike. We'll see how they go. They have got the internal, like the Patagonia ones, but these have more of a leg in them, like a form-fitting underpant inside. I don't know what I'll think of that. I've never really liked that in running shorts, but they've got a good pocket on the back too, which I like. We're going to give them a go. The Silverlight socks now have the shorts, so we'll check them out too and see how they go. If I have to wear pants, which the only time I really wear long pants hiking is on a day walk, where I know I'm not going to be in them for days on end. I've got, again, a Patagonia Quandary pant here, I think that is. Look, they're synthetic, they're comfortable, they're quick drying. If you use hiking pants, I'd love to know what you're using, because I'd like to try some more out. You know, when I head out on winter trips and stuff, that would be good. But just, I look for something synthetic, quick drying, moisture wicking, all that. And that's basically the only pair I've ever really worn, because I'm always wearing shorts. If I have to put pants on for scrub, for bushwhacking, that sort of stuff, I will wear my waterproof pants, which we'll go into in a sec. And again, this is all stuff. Generally what you're seeing here is stuff I will take on a day walk, and even a 9 or 10 day walk. It's the same kit pretty much, because where we hike here in Australia, in Tasmania, you can get 4 seasons in one day. You could be hiking in snow, then in 25 degrees Celsius sunshine, half an hour later. It is something that you've got to be prepared for here. So my kit doesn't really change from trip to trip. This is what I take on every trip. So next up is the insulation layer, which is like your warmer sort of jacket or top that you put on. And I've gone into this also before, where I'll talk about my jackets that I prefer. You can check that one out up there as well. That is a pretty popular video about the jackets and synthetic down, that sort of things that I wear. And down is a popular choice. It's lightweight, it lofts up well, and they're a great option But when you're in wet conditions, like it often is here, once down gets wet, it's not as effective and not as insulating. So these days, I personally prefer a synthetic jacket, and I've got the Arc'teryx Atom LT here, which is what comes on a lot of trips with me. Also use the Arc'teryx Nuclei FL jacket for longer trips, but they're both good options, and that's what I prefer these days. That is always near the top of the pack, ready for me to put on when I stop on a cool day. I want to stop, I want to put a warm jacket on so I don't get too cold, and that will always live near the top of the pack. Great jackets. And this is sort of where the layering system comes in. I use 4 layers. I use my base layer, my mid layer, which is like a fleece, and then I use my insulation layer, which is this one, and then my outer shell or my waterproof layer. And on that note, we also look at the fleece layer. Now, not everyone takes a fleece. I'll generally just take that warm insulation layer and not worry about a fleece because they've got their thermal layer and their insulation layer. I like to also have the mid layer, and that is where something like a fleece like this will come in. That will just be there. I can walk in that and not get too hot. That's why I like that. I get too hot in a thermal jacket like that and an insulating jacket like that. I prefer a fleece. There's not too much to say about fleece. They are been around for a long time. It is pretty durable, pretty long lasting. I've had this one for 7 years or so, and it's still going strong. So that's just an extra thing I take personally, and you can pick up fleece these days fairly cheaply, and they're going to last you a long time, and you can use them in all sorts of situations. So it's a good option to have one, and you will pick one up hopefully quite cheaply. Next up is the outer layer, your rain protection layer. So these are things like raincoats and overpants, waterproof pants. And like I said at the start of the video, Gore-Tex is a great option here if you can afford it. Gore-Tex is extremely durable. It allows you to breathe. If you're sweating, it will let the sweat out, but it won't let the rain in. But there are many other options out there which are much more affordable. So you don't have to go and buy the latest and the greatest. If you're just starting your hiking journey, get something affordable when you're starting out. You do need a raincoat. You do need some basic overpants, waterproof pants. It's going to make all the difference on those rainy days. Now, when you get into more serious hiking, where you are bushwhacking, where you are scrub bashing, when you're doing that sort of thing, you're going to want to invest in a very good quality outer layer, because it also provides good protection when you're in the scrub, when you're bashing through that wilderness, really thick stuff. You're going to want something that's going to protect you. But if you're just starting out, get something basic, get something that's going to give you good weather protection, but it doesn't have to be anything overly fancy if this is your first walk. And that brings us back to prioritizing your purchases. So where would I invest in my hiking kit, in this clothing kit, if I was just starting out? Well, I'd probably start, and I think I did back in the day, I started with a very good thick insulation layer, good quality, thick insulation layer, warm jacket. That's probably the first thing I would invest a significant amount of money in, is a nice good synthetic jacket or a down jacket, something that's going to keep me nice and warm when I need it most. I'd also be looking at things like good quality socks, good quality thermals. Well, you can pick up thermals fairly cheap these days. I'd be looking at all those things first, along with my footwear, because you've got to look after your feet when you're hiking. Then after that, I would be looking at high quality rain gear, but I would be concentrating on that stuff that's going to keep me warm first, and starting with that insulation layer. And with a lot of this rain gear these days, you can find something fairly affordable, especially in sales that are often on, without sacrificing quality. So there you have it. If you found this video useful, then you might find this video up here even more useful, where I go in depth into my layering system and what it all means. So check that video out, and until then, I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.